Welcome all to our April Let's Talk Solutions. Today we will be covering correspondence and mail merges. To clear up any misunderstandings, Let's Talk Solutions will be held on the third Wednesday of the month. It was previously on the second. We had to settle on the third, so thank you for your patience with that. A couple of housekeeping notes. We are recording this, and you will be able to find the link to this one and past presentations on our knowledge base. If you have any questions during the presentation, please enter it in the Q&A box below. So I'm Amy Strom, the Director of Client Success here at NPACT, and today you'll be hearing from Jeff Armstrong, our Chief Product Officer and author of the recent white paper on correspondence. But before we kick that off, I want to talk a little bit about what white papers, why we're doing white papers. As part of our dedication to providing quality training and documentation for our users, our product team launched a new initiative to publish white papers on various functions of our software. These white papers will address business processes and best practices. We have a number of topics already teed up, such as web applications, dockets, check run processing, etc. And we will share these white papers via email blast, as well as save them in our knowledge base and hopefully highlight them here on our future Let's Talk webinars. So now I'm going to hand this over to Jeff to kick this off. So take it away, Jeff.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning, folks. Good afternoon for those on the East Coast. Today, we're going to be talking about correspondence and mail merges. So we'll quickly define what they are, why we put them in the system, how they work, how GE NXT correspondence works. We figure most of you guys are probably familiar with doing correspondence in GE Classic. We'll talk about the similarities there, the differences, and how things work in GE NXT. We'll briefly cover how to set up templates. As you know, templates historically have been set up in GE Classic. We are working on template configuration in GE NXT. At this time, it still has to be done in our admin view back in Classic, but I'll show how that's done for those of you who haven't seen that yet. And then we'll talk about generating correspondence in GE NXT. We'll be taking a look at specific records. You can go to an individual grant record, proposal record, etc., and generate correspondence from one record at a time. That correspondence can either result in a Word document that you can print and mail, or it can be an email that gets sent to either a grant recipient or a fund holder, etc. And then lastly, we'll show how to generate correspondence, either letters or emails, in batch. And so we'll take a look at a check run or a docket. Take a look how to do the correspondence from there. And then lastly, it's not on this list, but today I'm going to be demonstrating from our development environment rather than our production environment. Typically in these Let's Talk Solutions webinars, we demonstrate from our production environment, but today we're going to be demonstrating from dev so that I can show you a sneak preview of a feature that's coming in GE NXT 1.7. Sometime in hopefully the next 3 to 4 weeks, we'll be releasing this. And you're able now to do, what I'll be showing here is doing correspondence from a query screen in GE NXT. So after that, we'll definitely have time for Q&A. In the meantime, if you've got questions, there is a Q&A feature here on this webinar. Feel free to submit those questions online. Some of the moderators can address those in real time, or possibly interrupt me with questions during the call here. So without further ado, I think we're ready to dive in. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera and share my screen. And we're going to jump into GE NXT first here. So hopefully everyone can see my screen here. This is GE NXT. So again, at a high level, what is correspondence? Correspondence is basically a mail merge. It's our tool for generating form letters. This can be used for all sorts of form letters. This can be for grant transmittal letters. This can be for fund acknowledgement letters that are all related to grants. It can be for proposals. You can do this for web applications, for your acceptance letters, your decline letters, all sorts of things. You can also use it for your reviewers in the Spectrum Reviewer portal. You can send emails to the review committee members via correspondence. These can be emails or these can be Word documents. Essentially, it's based on Microsoft Office. So the templates are set up as Microsoft Word templates, DOTX files. The output is either a DOCX, a Word document, or it's an email that goes through your SMTP servers to your stakeholders. So templates are set up in GE Classic. We're just about to dive into that, but we can see here, I'll show you real quickly in GE NXT. If I pull up a grant record, this is a grant record in GE NXT. And if I scroll down to the documents tile, the documents tile doubles as the correspondence tile and the media tile for most records. So you can see a letter that was generated before. This was a correspondence letter that we did. I can click here and download it if I want to see the document. It's launched it in Word on my other screen. I'll pull it up over here. But this is the document that was generated. You can download that at any time. You can real quickly do correspondence. We'll do this in just a minute, but you can choose document or email from here, choose your template, and just very quickly generate either a letter or an email. So one of the limitations that we had in GE Classic was that whenever we did email correspondence, there was a restriction where pretty much the body was just going to be the text of the message. We couldn't do custom formatting, fonts, we couldn't do images, background colors, etc. In GE NXT, we've gotten past that, so we can do full HTML emails that include documents and other formatting from the Microsoft Word document. So I'm very excited to show you that in just a minute, but we're going to start out by looking at how to set up a correspondence template in GE Classic. So I'm going to switch gears and come over to my GE Classic environment. Again, I figure most of you have probably seen this, but for those of you who haven't, it's in our admin menu, Correspondence Templates. This is where we set up templates. This is a list of all the templates that have been configured for this environment. And you can see each one has a different query type. So the ones that are for grants are only available on the grant screen and on grant batch screens like dockets and check runs. Web applications are only relevant to web apps, etc. Constituents are a bit more flexible. Constituent mail merges can be used for grant recipients. They can be used for fund holders. They can also be used for Spectrum users of all roles. And so you could send this out to your scholarship applicants. You could send out correspondence to your review committee members, etc. And all those web user templates are all configured here in this document templates section. So let's do a new template. We're going to do a new grant template. I'll just step you through this. We're going to call this one LTS, Let's Talk Solutions Demo Letter. This is going to be a grant correspondence template, and we're going to base it on the default grant query. Each of you has a default grant query, a default proposal query, default scholarship application query, etc. All set up in your databases. If you don't, contact support and we can set you up with one. You can also set up your own custom templates. If you want to have additional fields in your mail merges that aren't in this query, you can just set up your own and roll with those. But for today's purposes, we'll just go ahead and use this existing default grant query. So I've clicked new. We're going to give this just a second here. Oh, Microsoft Word is open here. Okay, cool. Here we go. So this is our new Word template. And I'm going to take a quick shortcut here. I'm going to copy and paste from another screen and just paste in this Word template that I've set up here. It's just got a recipient name and an address. Salutation here. You'll notice that the recipient name I've put in italics. I've put bold italics for the payment amount and the fund name just to show some formatting. I've got a different font used here for the signature, and I've got an image in it. This will come in. The output, the correspondence that we generate, both the Word documents and the emails will have this formatting in it. So I'm going to go ahead and save this template. I'll close this. And that's really all there is to it. I'm going to switch back to GE now. And we're going to take a look at, we're on a grant record, and we're going to do a correspondence template. So let's do a new correspondence. Let's start out by doing a document, and we're going to choose LTS demo letter. This is the letter I just set up. We'll generate this. You'll notice down here, it's downloaded this document for me. You'll see it here. This is the LTS demo letter. We could click here and download this anytime. It's put it into my browser. Note that this is a local copy. This is not the server copy. This is in my downloads on my machine. So this is just a local copy of this document. But we got the image in, we got the mail merge fields put in. You see the italics and the bold. So this is the letter that was generated, and it's just that easy. From a particular grant record, we can do that. Let's try it again here with email and show you what this looks like. LTS demo letter. You can see the body of the message is here. And we've got the font, all the formatting here. We've got the image. I can type in an email address here if I like. My browser is happy to have remembered things I've used before. Or I can click on the little to button and find other email accounts that are associated with this grant. So the grant recipient, if they have an email address, it'll show up here. If the fund holder, the requester on the grant, if they have an email address, it'll show up here. So you can just real easily say, I'm going to send an email to these two addresses. I could also add myself as a CC. And when I close this out, it's got it all pre-populated and ready to send off. So this is how our emails work now. So you can do this one at a time. You can do this through batches too. So I'll jump into batches here in just a second. That was on an individual grant screen. We're going to jump over. Yeah, let's jump over to a batch. So let's take a look at we can do a docket. Here's a docket I've set up that's got 6 payments on it. Relatively small sample size, but there are 6 payments here on this docket. And if I want to do batch correspondence, I just click new batch correspondence. I pick the document. Let's go back to this LTS demo letter again. I can generate it. It's telling me it's processing it and that it's done. And now you can see I've got 6 letters here that are just generated. Each of these is now linked back to its parent grant record. So if I were to pull up one of these grant records, I'd see this in that documents tile. I could download it anytime. I can click on any of them right now and immediately download them and get them pulled up in Microsoft Word for me. So here's one of them. But the real power here in mail merging in batch is that when I hit preview, it's going to open a single Word document that's got 6 pages in it. It's a 1-page letter, and I've got 6 all merged into one letter here. This isn't stored on the server. Again, this is just in my downloads, but this is a 6-page document with 6 transmittal letters. I can print them all, stuff the envelopes, and go. Once I close this, there's really no easy way to get back to this list of all 6. So it's going to warn me. At some point, we'll make that available because we've added logging here in the batches. But at this point, it's going to warn me that this is my last shot to print all 6 of them at the same time. Am I sure? I say yes. And now I'm done. I can do the same with email. One thing to note as I'm doing email, it's going to ask me one important question here. Am I going to do emails to the recipients or to the fund advisors? If this is a transmittal letter, I'm going to want it to go to the recipients. If this is going to be a fund acknowledgement letter, I'm going to want it to go to fund advisors. So I've got to pick which which accounts I want to send it to. So when I say go, it's going to generate these. It looks like not all 6 of these had email addresses associated with them, so it only generated 4 of the 6. So they're here. I could go in and I can edit each one of these. So I could make a small change to this one if I need to. And then I can just go ahead and send whenever I'm ready. This will send both of them at the same time. I'm not going to clog our SMTP server at this point, but batch correspondence is just that straightforward. Batch correspondence is available here on the docket screen. It's available on check runs. And coming soon in 1.7, it's going to be available in a lot more places too. For online applications, the old manage online scholarship apps, manage online proposal apps, screens in GE Classic. Those landing pages here in GE and XT are going to have batch correspondence functions as well.
Hey, Jeff, there's a couple questions that came in. Beth is asking, is there a way to mass email constituents from anywhere other than the payment to dockets, for example, scholarship recipients, reminder emails?
Great question. Let's take a look here. We're looking at the development environment. This is what's going to be coming out in 1.7. If we go to, let's go to submitted proposal apps, for example. We can check a few of these. We could filter the list if we wanted to filter, but if we've got these proposal applications, I can now do new batch correspondence from here. And I can just send letters to each of these applicants. I could filter out just the ones that have been awarded and send them an award email. I could filter out the ones that have been declined and send them a decline email if I like to. We don't just have to do email with this batch correspondence. We can also do, we can also do letters too. So we can generate those letters in batch. The same functionality we saw in the docket screen. So we can do it from here for online apps, several other screens that we're putting it into in version 1.7.
Great, thank you. There was one other one. Sarah's asking, where is the recipient for the emails being pulled from?
Great question, very important question. So every constituent record, I'm going to pull up constituents here. And so here is a recipient. Every constituent record has an email address associated with it. If you're familiar with the grants database structure, this is the constituent rec email field on the constituent table. So that is the email address by default to which it goes. We are looking into long-term enhancements here to allow emails from contacts as well. So each recipient can have contacts. If I had multiple contacts in here that had email addresses, I'd want to be able to send to those as well. We still have a bit of design to do on that. What's that going to look like? Do we want to have contact types? Whenever we're doing this in batch, do we want to just have a blanket option to send to all constituents and contacts? Trying to figure out the UI side of that and what it's going to look like on selecting the appropriate contacts is something we still have to think through, but that is going to be coming later this year.
That's great. When you talked about the preview, Jeff, are you able to edit those before sending in that preview where you can see all 6 letters at once that you went through?
Great question. So on the Word document that gets generated, it's a single page. I showed a single document with 6 pages in it. You can make changes to that document before you print it, but those changes do not get saved back to the individual records that are linked to, the documents that are linked to each grant record at this time. One of the enhancements we're looking at later this year is an inline editing tool where we can actually edit those documents within GE, not even launching Word. Just being able to edit them right here within GE once they're generated before they're sent out. However, in email and batch correspondence, you can edit those. If I go back to where we did the docket here, is this the docket? This is the one we looked at when we did batch correspondence. When I chose email, it generated emails for, if we did recipients, I think it only generated 2 out of these 6 because these were the only 2 that had email addresses. You can come in here and edit these individually before you send them all. This edit will change. If you need to change the text of that email, you can do it in line within GE and XT before it gets sent out. And like I said, we're planning on providing that same functionality in GE for letters coming later this year.
Great.
Lots of those technical details, regarding the files which files are downloaded, which files are stored on the server, et cetera. A lot of those are discussed in detail in the white paper. So I strongly encourage you to download that white paper, take a look at how it works. There's real simple language in it. It's not too technical at the beginning. And then later on, it gets super technical for those who want that. So you can get in there and learn as much as you like. I strongly encourage you to take a look at it.
It is available now on our knowledge base. Another question came in, Jeff, about are we able to email all donor advised fund portal users, like account holders?
Yes. Where would we do that? You can do that from, I believe you can do that from Spectrum Web Portal. Let's go take a look at, do we not have it? We don't have it in constituent yet. Where would we do that? You know what I haven't shown you yet? You can do it through the new feature that's coming in 1.7 in a few weeks. The one thing I haven't shown yet. So let's go take a look at queries. If you're not familiar, a query is very similar to the RE query, FE query concept. We have our own GE query. I got to find one of these that is shared that I can access. Let's take a look at this one if we can edit this query. And it looks like we take a look at the results of this query does have some proposal data. So now I can do batch correspondence right here. So to answer this question, if you wanted to send an email just to the fund holder web users in the Spectrum web portal, you would set up a correspondence template for a constituent. In our example, when we went into GE Classic, we set one up, this LTS test. We set one up for grants, but if you were to do one for constituents, that can be used to email web users. And if this query contained web users in the output here, then we could essentially do new batch correspondence. And you could either do documents or emails if you wanted to send an email to your fund holders who use Spectrum, and that's what this list is. You can just choose the appropriate template that you've set up for that. This is a proposal sample because this is proposal data. And then you can do it in batch right from here.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Were there any other questions, Amy?
That's all that's coming in right now.
Okay. Well, wow, this was scheduled for a full hour, and essentially I've walked through what I'd planned to walk through. We talked about setting up templates in GE Classic. That's going to be coming later this year to set up templates in GE NXT. We talked about setting up templates. We talked about having those templates linked to queries, and then we talked about using those templates to generate correspondence here in GE NXT. Talked about doing that on individual grant records and then on batch records too. We've talked about doing letters and emails and being able to print those from batch or send those from batch. And then we talked about this new feature that we're going to be rolling out in 1.7 for queries, correspondence in query records.
That's great. Here's another question came in, Jeff. Can you send individual fund information to specific individuals, like data on their specific fund?
Yes. Let's see. What we would do is we would set up, you'd set up a query that reads fund information, but it would essentially need to be a constituent query, right? And so you'd query your fund holders, link them to those funds, and then that query output would be it would be the fund holder and their email address and their name, and then details from their fund record as well. And if that's all in a query, then essentially you can come in here to that query and run correspondence.
By choosing the correct template that you set up.
Correct. You need to choose that correct template. And that template, whenever you set that template up, I'm going to jump back to GE Classic real quickly. When you set that template up, you need to make sure that that new template is based on your new query that you've created with this fund and fund holder data together. Out of the box, the query screen gives you constituent records that you can use to build queries, but I don't believe it gives fund records to be able to easily create queries. So if you need help building a query that accesses fund holder and fund data, we're looking to add additional functionality into this query screen going forward. But if you need help in the short term, feel free to reach out to support and we can help you set up a custom query for that.
Great. All right.
Any other questions?
Let's see if there was one more. I think that one is, I think that's all we have there. I can take the screen back, Jeff, if you
Okay.
can.
I'll stop sharing.
And let's see. So I guess we already went through that. Are there any other questions we want to go over, or that anyone has any questions on our Let's Talk solutions or additional ideas they'd want to present to us? No, I've listed both Jeff's email and my email on there. Please reach out if you have other questions you'd like us to answer. We're happy to help out. You will be able to find this recording on our knowledge base. And please connect with us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. We are keeping everything up to date. You can contact hello@npac.com to receive all the communications to date. So please reach out. Make sure. Oh, there's another question came in. Do contact types show in GE NXT emails? They do in GE Classic.
Contact types. They can, if they're a part of the query, that can be a merge field that's added to that's added into the letter. So we can do contact types there. Also, whenever we were looking at the batch emails, the batch correspondence, it asked us if we wanted to generate correspondence for fund holders or for, for fund advisors or for recipients. So there's a contact type selection there as well.
Great, thanks, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I want to thank everyone for joining today. We hope to see you next month on our Let's Talk Solutions. If you have ideas and thoughts that you'd like us to cover on these monthly webinars, please shoot us an email and we'll get them added to the list. Thanks all for joining.
Thank you all. Have a great day.